Let's talk about how Flashpoint got back together again.
Yeah, Flashpoint got back together April the 10th, 2005. We'd kicked around one or two ideas, but we were unsure on how we were going to progress. The only way to find out was to have a rehearsal. So Kev, Steve, Frank and myself got together April 10th, and within an hour we knew everything was great. The chemistry was there. It was almost as if the 17 years beforehand hadn't happened. At that point we tried a couple of new songs and they were starting to move as well, so right, let's give it a try.
Okay, so this is the actual third Flashpoint album, but the first real album. Would that be right? Is that a fair way of summing it up?
Yeah, the initial one, No Point of Reference, was very much my solo project. You have an itch, so you scratch it, and that pretty well satisfied it. Laser Love, we'd been backwards and forwards to studios over the interim period, but there was something different about it this time. It was almost as if it's something we had to do, but had to do together, and as a consequence, almost an equal split of songs, apart from myself, and I've only managed to contribute two.
How did that feel then, going from arch, sort of main lead songwriter to one of a number of contributors?
I was very pleased, because what I was finding was as each song came down, I was thinking, hey, that's great, I'll see if I can write one better than that. And I never did, so all of a sudden maybe the right proportions are there. But the lads have done such a good job, it would be silly to try and go for one upmanship when the quality's there.
At what stage did Chris come on board?
Chris came on board at the latter stages. We'd done the recording, and we'd done the same thing with Guy Forrester and Linden Studios as we had done in the past. But with Guy being involved more on the commercial side now, we were really struggling to get back to where we were with the sort of hard sound that No Point of Reference had. I approached Tim Hole at Audio Authority Management, and he got in touch with Chris, and Chris was dead keen to help. I sent him the 2 CDs we have out already, and went down with the masters, and Chris remixed it, did the production, and it's come out absolutely spot on, exactly where we want to be.
You're obviously very pleased with the final result. What are any songs that you particularly feel are the strongest? Or your favourites, perhaps?
I can't pick one out. I listened to, for example, the opener, Blown Away. Oh, that's great. It really comes in and hits hard. You think, yeah, that's probably the best track. And then we start on Metal Sun. Yeah, that might be the best track. So really, I can't pick out a favourite. There's some I enjoyed really playing, for example, like Very Soon Everyone's Leaving. Just the way it's constructed, and I can really kick off at the end. But by and large, I just don't have a favourite.
So where did some of these songs come about? Are there stories behind some of them?
Yeah, Kev came down with a song called One More Love. And One More Love's about the war. And this guy is with his partner, and they're together, they're in love. He has to go away to the war, and then thankfully he survives and comes back again. The guitar solo tries to mimic that. The first part is very much a war-type sound with sort of dive bombs and crashes in, and then it lifts at the end for the melodic part where, yeah, I've survived all of that, and then I go home and it's just a memory.
Feel is very important to your albums, because obviously there's quite a spaghetti western feel.
Yeah.
Blood and the Sand.
Yeah, Steve Turton came down with a song, and he's a big fan of Once Upon a Time in the West. And it actually starts with the old windmill which is creaking on the film. And Steve wanted to capture the flavour and the mood of, revenge and the passing of time, etc. And he's absolutely caught that moment on his music. However, the one person that really made it work was Chris Tsangarides, because Chris has taken it and developed it and taken it to a new high. So it's very, very atmospheric indeed now.
What about some of the others? What else sort of makes things race for you?
Frank wrote a song called Rivers. We had the album down, we had 10 tracks, and we needed one more track. Nobody really knew what the last track would be. We'd even been talking of an instrumental. I got a phone call from Frank one night, he said, "Oh, I think you can call her and I've written a song." So I went round and it was just like, wow, where the hell did that come from? And for Steve, I know that's his favourite track on the album, and it communicates so much with people's inner feelings. For some, I think it'll really set the difference. We've got some really great hard rock songs, but that one moment on the album where there's a pause can sometimes crystallise into a great album. What makes the difference?
Do you think, given your sort of past, do you think people would be surprised by this album?
I think they'll be surprised. I think our songwriting, it's been mentioned by one or two circles, it's matured a great deal. We were always very fast and hard rock writers in the past, and it was all about, you know, testosterone, you'll hit hard every time. But I think this one is a significant development on that, and if we live or are able to write a follow-on to this one, then I think that'll take it to yet another high. But for us, I would say this is Flashpoint Invaders.
Ian, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, John.